Hello friends, welcome to Cozy Home. Today let us see how to repot and care this fiddle leaf fig plant. This is not actually a plant, it can grow as big as a tree. I really love this fiddle leaf fig because it has very big thick green leaves. It adds so much beauty to the house indoor. I always wanted to have this fiddle leaf fig plant in my home, but you know what, it was very costly having it. I thought of having a much bigger plant, but it was very costly, so I thought I'll just buy this little plant and then grow it myself. For this, I've been having this fiddle leaf fig for around 3 weeks so far. I got this around 3 weeks ago, and now I think I'll repot this into a little bigger pot, so that it'll have some space for the roots to grow and the plant will grow in turn. So let's get started. So let's repot this plant now. As you see here, we have good potting mix, which is partially coco peat and compost together with normal soil. So I'll just repot it into this plant, into this pot. The first thing you have to remember for fiddle leaf fig is good drainage. It needs very good drainage system because the roots doesn't like standing in water. So good drainage is a must for having this fiddle leaf fig plant. So this is the plant that I repotted, and now comes the tips. Tip number one is this tip I found when I went to the store to buy this plant, and here it is. Always make sure to put something between this pot, the pot that we planted, and the container. It means it is always advisable to have something like a thermocol like this sitting, so that this pot sits on the thermocol, not directly in this container, because the roots will not be wet always. Make sure you have a thermocol sitting right in place, and then put this plant like this. This will make sure the roots are dry and do not sit in water. So this is the second tip that I follow, that is watering this fiddle leaf fig. What I do is once a week I thoroughly water the fiddle leaf fig plant. I just turn on running water. Make sure it's not hot, and I put this plant with a shower here like this. Thoroughly water the plant. And make sure the water just pours down, and wait for the water to completely drain, and then put it back in its container. So tip number 3 for caring this fiddle leaf fig. This plant always likes to have bright indirect sunlight. So make sure you place this plant. See, I have this bright window here. The sun comes through this window during the daytime until afternoon, but the sunlight doesn't fall on this. This is a bright place, but it always has only indirect sunlight. Make sure this plant stays right there for its optimal growth. So tip number 4, it is always advisable to wipe the leaves of this plant once they tend to accumulate dust. Wiping the leaves of this plant, make sure they absorb more of the sunlight and have photosynthesis process up and running in its optimum state. So make sure when you see dust on the leaves, then wipe the wipe the leaves thoroughly, but it's not needed regularly. You can do it hardly 3 weeks, once in 3 weeks or once in 4 weeks is of course sufficient. So these are the tips I tend to follow, very simple tips that I tend to follow, and the growth has been good so far. I'll keep you updated about its growth and how it is doing in its new pot and in my upcoming videos. Thank you so much.